Look at the captain data. You talked about game weeks ahead, and this is why it's tricky, because De Bruyne for this week, Salah for game week 12, and that's the game week you mentioned where De Bruyne's against United, Fernandes against City. And it's tricky, that, isn't it? You're not going to captain them, and even Kane and Son are at Palace, which is no gimme. So game week 12 is the problem, which is why you almost want De Bruyne this week, Salah next week, De Bruyne back in game week 13 when Salah plays Spurs. I mean, Liverpool Spurs will be a tough game for Liverpool because we know what Mourinho's going to do, right? So I think you want De Bruyne for that one. And then in game week 14, you need Fernandes because he's playing Leeds, and there's no other option that stands out. You got De Bruyne at Southampton, maybe Salah at Palace. Yeah, it's not going to be an easy one, but I'd rather have Fernandes captain at home to Leeds. And then in game week 15, you could go either Salah versus West Brom or De Bruyne versus Newcastle. But the message is you're going to need both Salah and De Bruyne, or you're going to need to shuffle about over the next few games.
Well, this is the thing that puts me off with getting De Bruyne. And I know De Bruyne is amazing. Like, I don't need to constantly be told that not having him is mad. Like, it's very much in my brain that not having him at home to Fulham is not a good idea. But if I get him in, I feel like I'm locked out of Salah, because I cannot afford to, with the way my team is structured, to do that, to get De Bruyne, Salah and Fernandes in.
And you can't do what I'm doing, which is De Bruyne, Salah back to De Bruyne again.
I could do that, but it kind of feels like I don't really want to be like banking transfers myself that I have to make, because I've got issues like Mopay to deal with and Semedo, and I feel like I'm just going to keep them forever. I don't want them. I'm sick of them. It's difficult. I don't know. It's tough. I'm finding this period really difficult to know, and I feel like I escaped it last season not having De Bruyne or Salah, but I don't know how long I can kind of ride that luck for. I mean, if I'm confident that Vardy's going to do quite well against Sheffield United, and I felt that way last week. But if Vardy does well and De Bruyne does well, then it kind of mitigates it a bit. But
yeah, and Vardy's got Brighton at home in game week 12, so Vardy is a captain option if you don't have Salah. But it's there. I don't know. Let's look in detail at this week. I'm going to go De Bruyne because of fixture, and it's purely because if you look at the defensive data, Fulham over the season, 19 goals conceded, minutes per XG non-penalty 69.8, which is the worst of the teams that we're considering here. We're considering Spurs versus Arsenal, United, West Ham and Liverpool, Wolves. So of those four teams, Fulham defensive data looks bad, the worst over the season. But actually, when you look at the last four game weeks, it's more Arsenal who have conceded more chances other than penalties, with 65.5 on their minutes per XG non-penalty, which suggests, yes, Arteta could turn up and defend, but I think there's goals there for Spurs. I think Kane and Son could come out of there as decent scores. I'm going to go De Bruyne though, despite the data looking much more in favour of a Kane or a Liverpool asset, or even Fernandes at West Ham. I don't think there's going to be much between the captain candidates this week. I think Fernandes will get something at West Ham. I think he could end up with another double figure. I think Kane's going to come out of it with something. I don't know about Liverpool at home to Wolves, because we know that Wolves, if you look at this data, they're the best defence of the four that we're looking at here, both in terms of the season and in the last four game weeks. And without Jimenez, how is he going to set up? Is he going to go back to the three at the back? He played a flat back four against Arsenal, didn't he? So is Kilman going to get back in? I think he will do that. I think he will go back to wing backs, and possibly play two up front, maybe Neto and Tro. I don't know. It's really interesting.
I think that's what we do. I think that's what we do. Go back to the kind of the old formation
and play three in midfield, two up front. Yeah. I think that's.
I mean, I'm surprised you haven't got Vardy on this list though, because I do think he's a strong option this week.
Do you? Yeah.
Sheffield United are bad. They're bottom of the league, worst team in Premier League history for a reason.
Yeah, you could be right. Vardy could be the outlier, the one that breaks out of the captain candidates. But I haven't seen that Fulham game. I don't think many who own Vardy would be confident putting the armband on him this week.